Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you are staying cool in this summer heat, unless of course you're watching this from the Southern Hemisphere, in which case I'm quite jealous because it is freaking hot here. So this is going to be the third part of what will be a 4-part series on my journey of becoming a full-time landscape photographer via YouTube. In the first video, I covered what paths you can take and why I ultimately picked YouTube as my main path, and you can find that here. In this video, I'll briefly go over the stats and progress, revenue streams, evaluating past and future goals, and the challenges from the last 3 months. Whether you're looking at starting YouTube yourself for another subject, or you're looking into it for landscape photography specifically, there should be something in here for you. So let's get started. Let's start off briefly taking a look at the stats for the first 6 months to get an idea of where we are in comparison to now. The large spike is, as you may already know, when a video I made got suggested by YouTube back in November and essentially launched most of the momentum for this channel. I spent time breaking this down in my last update, which you can find here in terms of the view count, the percentage of my total views driven by that specific video. So if you're interested, be sure to check out part 2 of this series. Before we get into breaking down the last 3 months, I think that it's really important to talk about what exactly happened during this period. Not too long after my 6-month video update, for the part 2 of this, I left my full-time job in the hopes of putting all my effort into this channel. Simultaneously and unexpectedly, my relationship with my partner also ended, which certainly changed what I needed to prioritize at the time. Thus, I decided one of the best things I could do was just get in my car and go make content, which is what I did. If you're interested, a good friend of mine, Annette, even wrote up an entire article on Petapixel about the trip, which I'll have linked down below. While that trip was not only great for content, it was also necessary for my own mental health and clarity in life. It also means that there is basically an entire month where I didn't post. Thus, the data for this period is not going to match the others, but sometimes life happens and you just have to adapt. Anywho, with that knowledge, you can clearly see a decrease in views when you don't release anything for a month. Momentum matters, and it's also important to note that since being back, I also haven't released any Lightroom tutorials, which are typically the videos that get the most views on this channel. I've had a few live streams as well that generate varying amount of views, but overall the momentum has certainly slowed down, which I fully expected after such a large rise early on, while also taking a month off to figure out my life a bit. It's certainly a true statement that YouTube isn't and shouldn't be considered passive income. I don't know why a lot of people say it is. You have to continue to make content to keep getting views on your old content, in my opinion. It goes without saying that YouTube is going to promote and prioritize active channels more often, and I think it's pretty clear, even the 1 month I took off, that that's what happened. All right, the stats are pretty straightforward, so let's dive into revenue. YouTube generated $766 over the last 3 months from ads specifically. Recently, I've enabled mid-roll ads, typically 1 depending on the length of the video, and I'm not really sure it makes much of a difference at the moment, but I'll probably know more by the next update. The biggest thing pushing my revenue up this time around is YouTube memberships, which I got enabled the day after I published my 6-month update last time. Down below, you'll see a join button that simply allows viewers to support me a bit while also getting a few perks like our Discord community. Those memberships have generated $206 so far, and I genuinely and truly appreciate anyone who has joined or is still a member. Sincerely, it means a lot. I'm briefly going to put anyone that has supported me on the screen now, and I just cannot thank you enough, so thank you. Next up is Amazon affiliates, which earned a total of $63. These are just links that are in the description or located on my gear page on my website that gives me a small percentage of the sale if someone purchases any item through the link. It doesn't have to be the item that was linked. I could probably put more effort into pushing these, but mostly I just leave them available for people to check out if they want to, rather than trying to suggest them continuously. The Lightroom preset I made in this video, which is more of a hack than it is a preset, has continued to generate a little money as well, and that's resulted in about $140. Technically, this next part doesn't have much to do with YouTube, but it certainly involves my landscape photography and revenue, so I thought I would include it. During this last 3-month period, I placed in 2 different contests. I got 2nd place in the independent photography landscape contest, netting me around $580, And I also got third place for the Great Outdoors contest on outdoor photography, netting me around $215. I'm not going to include these in the total, but I think it's important to mention them that they are technically revenue. Also, I'll be giving away the bags that I won from one of the contests in a future video, so if you're interested, make sure you're subscribed to the channel down below. Lastly, just like the previous 2 times, I earned a few $100s a month from F-Stoppers articles on average from writing weekly. Keep in mind, I also stopped writing articles for a month when I also wasn't making videos, and this total results in about $400. Altogether, it's roughly $1,575 if my math is correct. Not necessarily an improvement from last time around, but considering the circumstances, I'm happy to be somewhat close to last period's revenue of $2,300. And I would be if you included those contests, but I don't think they necessarily count because it definitely involved a lot of luck. My goals and priorities have changed a lot since the last video in the series. In that video, I wanted to hit 25K subs, make a video a week, find sponsorships, and start a website newsletter, and find better ways to monetize my content. I don't think I hit any of those marks, but I also don't see not achieving those goals as any form of failure. Sometimes life just crashes down on you and you have to do whatever you can to find your feet again. I spoke a lot last time of finding ways to monetize better, and while that is still in my mind, it has become a lot less important during this period. I stopped looking at numbers, subscriber numbers, and monetization ideas, and I decided to just simply focus on making content and communicating with my community, you guys. I've told myself that many of those things will be there when I'm ready to focus on them, and ultimately the most important thing is to make good content, communicate, and not burn myself out, trying to juggle too many things at once while I'm trying to get a grasp on my life. The next 3 months are completely up in the air. I will likely be living in my car semi-full time, possibly with a home base somewhere, but I'm still unsure. I need to figure out how to consistently make content while on the road. Giving up the office with a desktop and 3 monitors to try and edit and cut video while also editing photos on a single 13-inch laptop screen is going to have its challenges. I need to figure out how I'm going to film this style of video, except somewhere in my SUV while on the road. There's a lot to reestablish and navigate that doesn't include revenue streams. Thus, my goal for the next 3 months is to just keep making quality content and be genuine to my viewers while also figuring out what's next for me and my own personal life. I suspect that I will find my place in this medium all over again, and I hope you stay along for the journey. I'm excited for the future, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit anxious, not really having a lot of grasp on what the future holds. It's both exciting and terrifying all at the same time. One thing I know for sure is that this is what I want to be doing. This right here, making landscape photography content. I can't express enough how much I appreciate your support and encouraging words throughout this entire process. You know who you are. If you're out there trying something new in your life, taking a leap of faith into a new career, or just simply dabbling in a new hobby, just remember that we all go through ups and downs. Sometimes we might feel completely lost, or we know exactly where we're going. And we can all find a bit of meaning in everything that happens around us. And I think that's what's important. I hope the information within this video was helpful and ties together the progress that I've made, while also keeping in mind that I'm also human. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Later.